Well, hey, Book World. I am so excited to see you tonight. Tonight is the very last episode in our Premiere Week series, and I cannot wait to share today's lesson with you. This is the lesson that I have taught my friends, my fans, my students, and my clients, and it has seen such great success in getting fans involved and interactive on your social media that I can't even tell you how wonderful it is. I'm so excited because it's quick, it's easy, it's simple to do, and it markets your book and your brand without ever seeming like you're giving them a sales pitch. You're never shoving the book down their throat. You're never making them feel like they have to do something because you're turning it into a game. Tonight, we are talking about connection images, and these are one of my favorite things. I use them at all of our book launch live parties. I use them just in general with my clients on their social media, and it is fantastic. I cannot wait to share all about that tonight. So let's jump right in and get started. I see we've got a couple people here. Hi, Alyssa, because you're here. I love that you're always here. You are so wonderful. And we've got some other fabulous people here tonight. Hi, Susie. Hi, Austin. So glad to see you guys. This is awesome. All right, we are going to jump in and get started because I am so thrilled for tonight's big lesson on connection images in the final episode of our premiere week before we jump into our regularly scheduled Saturday night. So this is actually our very first Saturday night, 7 p.m. I'm so excited. Let's do this.
Welcome to RTTV, brought to you by Reading Transforms, with your host, K.M. Robinson of K.M. Robinson Photography and Reading Transforms. If you look to the right of your screen, you will note a chat box. We encourage you to ask questions and comment throughout the show. Our moderators will be watching the feed and collecting questions for our hosts to answer during the end of the broadcast. Use the red question mark tab to differentiate your questions from your comments in the feed. If you are a member of our Facebook community and our weekly newsletter, your notes will be emailed to you shortly. Make sure that you are active this week in our Facebook community for deeper insights into how to apply this into your marketing strategy and for ongoing support. Welcome to the weekly live broadcast that will revolutionize your author branding, book marketing, and social media marketing strategies.
So let's talk about connection images. Connection images are so much fun both to shoot and to use in your marketing, and I recommend it to all of my clients, my students, and my friends. If you've ever attended any of our book launch live parties, you know that I love doing connection image games. So this particular type of image that we're going to be working on today pertains not only to marketing through your Instagram, through your Twitter, through your Facebook, but it also works as a game. So it's not just something to show off your book, it's not just something to connect to your book, but it's also a way to get your fans to interact. So let's talk about what a connection image is. Take a look here. This is an image I shot that I call a connection image, and it is connected to a book by an author friend of mine. Her book is called Rise. It is by Jennifer Ann Davis, and I shot this for her back when her book was just coming out. And if you take a look, there's a lot of different objects here that connect to the story. So I had the privilege of reading her story. It was a wonderful story, and I pulled these different elements from within this book, and I turned it into a connection image. So a connection image is one where you have objects that you can find in the book or are representative of something within the book that you put together in one image, and then you present it to people, and you can use it in different ways. So like I mentioned, I oftentimes turn it into a game. So I could turn it into a guessing game where my fans or her fans or my clients' fans have to guess how that knife is connected to the book, or how the different things within this page are connected to the book. What does that glowing orb have to do with it? Why is there a map? Who uses that map? What's a rock there for? Tell me why these things are in this image. Give me your best guess. Now, maybe this is something that we use before a book comes out as a guessing game to get interest for an upcoming release. Who do you think uses this book, and why within this image do you think it is used in the book? So you can use this within your marketing to get them interested. Now you can use it afterwards to see if people remember how. You can use it on book blogs. So I oftentimes tell my authors when they have a new book coming out that they can take that image, they can give different versions of it to different book bloggers, and then have fans jump from blog to blog to blog and guess what the connections are. And they would have to go to each and every blog to get all of the hints to figure out why it's connected to this book. So that's good for you and your book, but it's also good for the book bloggers you're working with. You can do things like pop it on your social media and give them 2-3 clues a day for the week or the 2 weeks before your book comes out. You can use it to talk about the characters. Which character do you think uses this, this, and this? Or which character do you think is connected to that object, but not that object? You can use it in so many different ways. You just have to think through how you want to present it. So we're going to talk a bit about how to create these images and then how to use them in your marketing. So if you've been hanging out with me at any point throughout the Reading Transforms career, you know that I talk about imagery a lot. I am a professional photographer, and so I can give you tips and tricks that other people cannot, because I have been trained for so very many years to do this professionally. I do this for a living. People pay me to do this, and I am telling you how you can do this without having any formal training and without having expensive equipment. So everything I'm telling you today can be shot on your iPhone. Typically, I don't shoot on an iPhone because I have my good cameras. I have the best in the industry, and I work with that in most cases, but I have been known to, on occasion, shoot things with my iPhone. If you've been hanging out on my Instagram stories at all, you know that I have definitely been snapping some pictures on my phone. So you can do it too. It's not hard. Here's what we need to know about connection images. You're going to need a flat background. You're going to need things connected to your book, and you may or may not want your book. So it depends on how you're doing it. In some cases, I do not place the book within the image. It's not necessarily necessary, but sometimes I do. So I have created images both with the book and without the book. That is entirely up to you and how much space you have. So how do we create a connection image? Well, the first thing we need to do is figure out what your objects are going to be. So sit down, go through your book, and start making a list. Anytime a physical object pops up in your story, write it down. Anytime something keeps reoccurring throughout the story, write it down. And I would even encourage you to take notes as you're writing things down. Write down what the object is, what page it's on, and why it's being used, or remember the scene that it was written in. So you want to make sure you know the context, because once you get past the making the fans guess part and you're telling them the answers, you actually want to know the answers. So remind yourself where these things are located, both in the book and within the story. Once you have your list of objects, you're going to want to go through your house, go through your neighbor's house with their permission if they have let you borrow things, and find these objects. Now, there's not going to be everything within your house or within your friends and family's homes. Some things you cannot bring inside. So let's just think about some of the objects we might have within your connection image. A lot of the time, books are written and set in perhaps a forest or a meadow or some outdoor scenery, and you cannot bring a tree into your house. You just can't. Sorry. Even if you shoot this outside, you're probably not going to get much of this tree. You're not going to be able to see what it is. Maybe some of the roots, maybe a couple leaves, but you're not going to have this full tree within your image. So you're going to do something representative of that. So if you look through my images, I often use succulents in place of a meadow or a tree or the outdoors. It's representative of that. It doesn't have to be the exact item. So if you have something that is similar to or representative of, you can use that in your image. It doesn't have to be the exact same thing. You don't have to get yourself worked up, and you don't have to panic if you don't have a glowing orb. It's okay. Some books, there was a book that I read, I was doing an image for, it had a glowing apple. Well, we don't have glowing apples, but we do have apples, so I can put my apple within that image, and that would be representative of the glowing apple. So you have to come up with things that you can use, that you have easy access to, that is available to you, and if you don't have it, move on. It's okay. You don't need to fit everything in. You don't have to fit a billion different things within your image. It's okay. You can make these smaller images, even if you have things that are time sensitive. So things that come up throughout the year. Perhaps you have a winter book and you need snow or snow related items and it's the middle of summer. It's okay. You don't have to work that in right now. You can get that when you need to. This can be an ongoing thing. Once a week, you could have something related to your book. Totally cool. You could even do this through Instagram stories. Wouldn't that be awesome to snap a different picture of each thing and just set it through your stories and make them guess? I think that'd be awesome. But your goal here is to make them curious about your book. So we've got our flat background. We're going to shoot straight down. So whether you're on a table, if you don't have a table that you like, you can get some poster board or foam board, set it down so you have a nicer background. I would suggest probably not necessarily using material because you can kind of see the material, the lines in the material. So if that fits with your book's aesthetic, go for it. But otherwise, I would stick to a flat tabletop, desktop background. That's probably going to look a little bit better in your image. And the key here is to show everything off. So as you're selecting your background, make sure, and this is super important, that you are using a solid color that is not going to blend with your objects. You don't want your background to blend with your objects because the goal here is for them to see the objects. They need to see what it is to figure out how it's connected. So you want to make sure that you are using a solid colored background that's going to make everything else pop. So if you have a lot of dark objects, go with a light background. If you have a lot of light objects, go with the dark background. You want to make sure it pops. So keep it flat. If you are using fabric, no wrinkles. Make sure you get that thing ironed and pulled out nice and tight so that it is not distracting in your image. So then you have to decide, are you putting your book there or not? If you aren't, awesome. Put your objects there and let's go. If you are, make sure you're not covering up the title or your name or the author's name so that people can find it. So now, as we are putting our objects down, you have to stylize this. You're not just tossing a bunch of stuff onto your background and snapping a picture. It's not going to look intentional. It's not going to look like good marketing, and you don't want that for your brand. That does not represent you. That does not represent your book, and that does not represent your author brand. Make sure you are putting this where people can see it. So start with your biggest objects first. Put those down on your background and build around it. It's okay if your objects overlap. That's not a problem. If your objects are overlapping, just make sure that everybody can see enough of it that they know what the object is or they can tell what it's supposed to be. Now, as you are doing this, make sure the things that are similar looking or are similar colors don't get too close to each other because again, and this is essential, you want everything to stand out. You need to make sure that people can see each and every piece of it. But this also leads me to remind you that you don't want to clutter your image. You need to make sure everything has enough space. So if you have a very long list of things that you want to get into your image, that's okay. But maybe let's divide it. Pick things that kind of work together, that maybe look good together or go together within the story, and then make separate images and then use them at different times. So maybe you're going to have one day where you are having a connection image day and all of your friends and fans are hanging out on your social media for the entire day. Maybe it's a Saturday, it's a weekend party that you're doing. And every hour or so, you upload a new image and then make them guess how it's connected or who it's connected to. The goal here is to get them to interact. So you have to tell them what to do. Now, before you go dropping random images onto your Instagram, your Twitter, your Facebook, make sure you're warning them. Tell your fans that you have an event coming up. It's going to be a connection image event or some kind of surprise event that you have for them and get them prepared. Not only so that they understand what's happening when you start dropping random things within their feed, but also so that they can plan to show up. Now, this can be a game just for fun. It could be a game for a prize. It could be a game for a 15-minute Skype call with you. Or it could be that they get to take over your Instagram for one whole day and tell you what to post. It could be all sorts of things. But you have to let them know in advance. Let them know it's coming up. Build up the excitement about it and make sure they know that it's coming and that it's going to be awesome. Once you've built that up, you can spend your time getting your image ready. So you're going to take your image or your couple of images and plan out your comments for it. Now, of course, different platforms have different limits. So we know that Twitter has 140 characters. We know that on Instagram, you can post longer comments, but as you're scrolling through, you only see 87 characters before it shortens it and you have to click those little dots to read the rest. So your most important information needs to go in those first 87 characters. And then, of course, there's Facebook. Pretty much anything goes. So pick your comments and make sure that they are directed toward this. So say this is a connection image. All of these objects within this image are connected to my new book, fill in the blank title. Tell me how you think they connect. If your book is already out, see if you can make them remember how it connects. So if they know this is coming, you can say at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, I am posting an image. It is a connection image. It's going to have 5 objects in it. The first person to find all 5 objects within the book and give me the page numbers or tell me the line from it wins whatever, a private Facebook party with me for 5 friends. I don't know. You can pick all sorts of prizes. Now, if you are turning this into a contest and you are doing prizes, if you have not jumped onto www.readingtransforms.com yet, and if you have not downloaded our free PDF called How to Market Your Book Creatively and Effectively, Even When You're Flat Broke, you need to do that now. Within this PDF, I have ideas for you to market your book that will not cost you a penny and will not be pushy to your fans. They add value, they give important content to them, you enrich their experience with you, and it doesn't cost you a cent. There's a whole bunch of ideas in there, grab that. But at the very end of that PDF, I have a special bonus that I've added for you, and it is 15 contest prizes that won't cost you a penny. You do not have to pay for any of it. It's fantastic ideas where you can run contests and events and giveaways and not break the bank. So if you have not grabbed that yet, jump onto www.readingtransforms.com. I'm going to be dropping that in the chat box. Well, our moderator is going to be dropping that in the chat box right now. And up at the top, down in the middle, down at the very bottom, I think there's like 4 places on this website where you can grab this for free and download it instantly. Do that at the end of this broadcast because you want to stick around for the rest of this. So now that you have your contest figured out or your giveaway, however you're going to do this, you need to plan out exactly what you're doing. You figured out what you're saying. You just have to figure out your schedule now. So what platforms are you putting this on? Are you going to put it on all of them? Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. I might actually suggest to you that you pick one platform and get everybody in the same place at the same time. You could even do it as a bit of a scavenger hunt. So tell them you are bouncing from platform to platform, and at the end of each post, tell them where to go next. Maybe you start off on your Twitter, and an hour later, you post a new one on Instagram. Your goal here is to get them interacting with your social media. So what are you going to do? Within your comments, you want to make sure that they are interacting with you by answering. How is it connected to your book? How is it connected to this character? Or which character is it connected to? Now, if your book is not out, maybe you need to, in advance, give them a bit of a write-up about each character. So get your couple of main characters, name, age, 2-3 facts about them, so that they can guess who it goes to. If you check out our very first book launch live party with Pintup Dunn, if you go on our YouTube page, you can see a rebroadcast of it, so you can see exactly what happened. There's a game where we have actually picked which character goes with which quote. Well, it's the same thing here. You are taking your characters, giving them a couple of facts about each one, and then they can guess which of the 3, or however many, is connected to that particular object. Connection images are amazing because it gets your fans so involved, and more involved than most of your posts are going to, because you turn it into a challenge or a game. So be the fastest one to find this, or find this in the book, it's hidden, or remember where this is, or guess why this is connected. And it always drives them back to your story. So if your book's already out, your goal is to drive them into your book. You want them to go back and look through the pages and figure out what is what. If your book is not out, your goal is to get them interested in your book. You want them to buy it when it comes out, so you need to get them figuring out why they might be interested in this. Whatever you do, you need to keep your book the focus. So all of your wording, everything you comment should have to do with how it's related to your book and their experience with your book. If you are having your book in your image, that needs to be the focus of it. Make sure you're not covering up your name, you're not covering up your title. And if you have multiple images, that's awesome. Give them to your book bloggers, put them on your social media, get them out there so that people see them. The more people that see them, the better. It's going to help your marketing of your book because it is something fun, it is something valuable, it gives them something interesting to do, and it's not pushy and it's not in their face, and they don't have to play if they don't want to. They can just keep scrolling. So, connection images are valuable to you because it creates something that they can interact with, gives them permission to be involved, and encourages them to go back into your book or look into your book to learn more. I love connection images. I have seen such great success with these connection images, the ones I've created, the ones that my clients and students have created. Everyone loves these connection images, and I've had great responses from fans. So within our book launch live parties, within our other events, when our fans have been able to interact with these images, they're really excited. They're posting in the chat box. That was my ring. They're posting in the chat box, they're leaving comments, they are making their guesses, and they're really excited about it. When I did the first party with Pintip for her newest book, The Darkest Lie, she actually had a bunch of her fans and friends in the chat box that were really, really interested. And I know that a bunch of my author friends joined us for this party, and they didn't really know a lot about the book, but they came to support me and they came to support Pintip. And when we got through this connection image and the guessing games that we did with them, they went out and they got the book. They wanted to know more about it, and they were really excited about it. Simply from an image that you can create in just a couple of minutes. So your goal here is going to be to gather everything up. You need to make yourself your list, figure out what you need. If you don't have it, ask friends, ask family. Figure out who has something that represents those things that you need. You need to put it together. So decide what works with what looks good with what, how do things work together, and what color scheme-wise works with your image. Then decide who you're giving them to. Are you keeping them all for you? Are you giving them to your book bloggers? Are you challenging your fans within a Facebook group? Decide what you're going to be doing, and then you got to do it. So make sure your commentary, your questions, the things that you're posting have to do with how it's connected to your book. You always want to drive it back to the fact that this object in this picture is connected to this book. How? Guess how? Tell me how you think it works. See if your guess is right. You want to challenge them. You want to make them ask questions and give you answers. It's easy to do. I mean, I've been doing this for a while. I fly through this, but the more you do this, the better you're going to become at it. And all it takes is a little bit of your time. You just go through your book or go through the book that you're reading, make a list, figure out what you want, get it all together, shoot it, edit it, and you're good to go. Now, quick pro tip, as you are shooting this, make sure that you leave a little bit of space on your background, a blank space to put either your website or that is a connection image. You can put the challenge right there. You can put the words on it, or you can put the book title or where to find it. But you want to make sure that it's not taking away from the image. So whatever you put on there, they need to be aware this is a connection image and it connects to this book and this person's website or social media. So leave a little bit of space in a corner or in the very center to add in words afterwards. Now, I try very hard to come up with a special bonus for you every single time. I can't always have a freebie for you because sometimes our topics are not going to lend themselves to freebies. But in almost every case, I'm going to try to be creating a freebie for you, something that you can download that will make your life easier as you are putting these lessons into practice. And so this week, I've got something very special for you. I'm super excited for this because all week long during Premiere Week, we have been doing some really cool things. I've got some really cool things in store for you. And our freebies are exceptional. I'm so excited about this one. We are going to be doing a free download of 15 steps to creating incredible connection images to use in your book marketing. So this is 15 steps that you can go through to create these incredible connection images, and it's going to change the way that you're marketing because it gives you so much to work with. There's so very much that you can do within these images that are going to get your fans to interact. It's going to get your fans to go back into your book, and it's going to get them to want to look at you more. And if you can create a fun environment for your fans, if you can create somewhere where they want to be, where they come and they have fun with you, they're going to keep coming back. You are not going to bore them if you have interesting things for them to see and do every time that they pop onto your social media. So while you're not going to be doing connection images all the time, you should make it a special event. And when you do, you gotta promote it. You gotta let them know. You gotta build up that suspense and drama and get them anxious for it before you launch it. You want to make sure they know it's coming, and you want to make sure that they know it's going to be awesome. And if you have prizes, tell them there's a prize and it's a really good prize and they need to be on this social media platform on this day at this time if they want to participate. Let them know how this is going to work within your marketing. Remember, you are responsible for your branding and your marketing. Nobody's doing this for you. You're in charge of marketing your author brand. Your publisher may be in charge of marketing your book, but you are in charge of marketing your book and your author brand. Nobody else is going to build up your brand for you. Nobody else is going to build up your social media platforms. Nobody's going to engage your fans for you. Nobody's going to talk to them for you. You are responsible for interacting with your fans. You are responsible for getting your fans on your social media. You are responsible for how they interact with you, how they speak to you, and how they keep coming back to you. So if you can do something like this to get their attention, to get their interest, and then get them involved, that's a great way to get your fans in to hang out with you, to bring in new fans, and to make sure that you are the fun author who gives them awesome stuff to do. So talk to me. Do you have questions? Pop them in the chat box. Now is the time. I want to hear your questions on how to shoot these. I want to hear your question on what kind of images or objects you should be putting in here. I want to hear your questions about your specific book. Tell me what you've got. What are you worried about? What are you not sure about? Are you worried that you're only dealing with an iPhone? It's okay. I shoot iPhone sometimes. My students do it all the time and they have great success. Tell me, what are your questions? Pop them in the chat box. Use that little question mark so that I can tell that there are questions. Our moderators have been going through and watching the feed while I've been talking, so we are ready to answer your questions. Let me know what you got. What do you have? What is your biggest fear with this? Give me your objections. Tell me what you want so that I can tell you how this is going to work, how it's going to be successful for you. This is one of my favorite things to do. I love this because my people that try this, my students, my clients, my friends, they always see success from this. This is always something that their fans like and enjoy and have fun with. And I know it sounds like it's a lot of work, but it's really not. I do it in a couple of minutes. As I'm reading a book, I take notes. So I have my phone right next to me. I actually go through, I write down page numbers. If I think I'm going to need a reminder about what the object is, how it's connected to the story, I make a note of that. I put the object down. And then when I'm all done with the book, I pull up my notes app on my phone. I click on that note. I go through my list and I decide, what do I have? What can I get access to? And what can I use? What's going to look good? What are the most important things? Sometimes I write down things that I don't use. Smaller things, things that don't matter. I don't always put those in. Sometimes I put one of those it doesn't matter things in to throw people off if it's a guessing game or if they're racing back into the pages to find something small and obscure that really doesn't have a lot of bearing on the story, but is a great way to trick them and trip them up as they're working. So go through your list, figure out what you want, keep it right on your phone as you're reading, right next to you, or keep an index card with notes on it so that you can find it easily. You want to do this as you're reading so that it does not waste your time to go back into the book later and figure it out. go through everything, pull your image together, take your shot, edit your shot, get your watermark on there or your logo, put your website, put that it's a connection image, and guess how these things are connected to my book. Put your book title in there. You want to make this as easy as possible for your fans. So try this out and tell me, what are your questions? We're going to jump into questions right now. Okay, so let's get to our questions. Our fantastic moderators have been sending these to me, and we are going to be checking them out. So here's what we've got. I struggle because my book is science fiction. Do you have any suggestions for science fiction and fantasy books? Well, to that I would say there are definitely going to be some things within your story that you can find in our everyday world. But if there are things that you can't, you can either create them or find things that are representative of them. So if we think back to when I was talking about the succulents representing the trees within my images, that's kind of something you can do. So find something that is similar to it, find something that is representative of it. You can create things, hit a craft store. Craft stores are great. Or you can look for those things that are the same as the things in our world. So maybe your character is brushing their teeth in a scene and it really doesn't have an awful lot to do with it, but still, you can get a toothbrush. That works out. If they're eating food, you can grab the food. You can find little things that are going to be a little more common and easy for us to find in our world that actually exist in our world and use those. But if you can't, find things that are representative or similar enough that you can say this is representative of that. Like with that one image I did of the glowing apple. Now, I made mine glow because I can, professional photographer, we have these tricks up our sleeve. But I could also just use that normal apple image and have that be representative of the glowing apple. So find things that are similar that can kind of work for it. And ask people. If you can't come up with something for your book, ask your fans if they've already read it, or ask a friend to read it and come up with a list as they're going. Sometimes it's easier if someone new is reading and writing things down as they go, as opposed to you going back in your book and looking up stuff yourself. It just makes it a little bit easier, you know? How does this work with Instagram stories? Okay, this is a good one. I love this because there are two ways you can do that. Well, no, I take that back. There's one really good way you can do this. You don't want to be posting on separate days. So not one image now, one image 2 days from now, another 4 days from now. You want to make sure that this is very much together. Within stories, it's a story. You're telling the different pieces of it. So you can either take little bits and pieces and do 3 objects at once, 4 objects, 5 objects, 2 objects, and kind of go through all those pictures. Or you can just do one thing at a time leading up to the big image. So perhaps I would take the knife first, then I would take the map, then I would take the rock, then I would take the glowing orb, then I would take the plant. I'm trying to remember my pictures. You would take one thing at a time and then combine it all for the last picture and have them message you. Or you could put that last picture on your actual Instagram page, the actual feed, and let them comment on there how these things are connected. But don't split it up between days. You want to keep that all on the same day within the same 24-hour period story. So at once every hour, maybe, or you could do it back to back. That's fine too. What's the best social media platform for this? Honestly, you can really do this on all of the social media platforms because they're all kind of conducive to working with this. So maybe you want to put it on Facebook. You can have all the comments on the side. It's all good. Everybody can read through it. Everybody can see it. You can tag people in it. It'll be awesome. Twitter, you're going to want to break it up a little bit. It's going to be social. You can really get in there with those hashtags, which is nice, but you have to be able to have people find those hashtags. So if you can get in there on Twitter and post a little bit at a time and really get them active and tweeting and hashtagging, that's going to be good. Instagram is awesome because, like we just talked about, you can use Instagram stories or you can use your actual feed, which is really good. I love doing that because it gets it seen. Everybody likes to see these things. And the more interaction you get within Instagram, as we know with these lovely algorithm changes, the higher it's going to be in people's feed and the more people will see it. So that's a great way to get your Instagram boosted up, which is fantastic. So I honestly, I feel like if I had to choose, I would probably go with Instagram as my favorite platform to do this. Facebook would be a close second. Twitter is awesome for the hashtag, but you gotta get the hashtag to work. If the hashtag doesn't work, it's gonna flop. So make sure you put a lot of extra effort into your Twitter. My main goal would be Instagram, I think, and then Facebook, unless you have a bigger following on Facebook. But honestly, any of the social medias are going to work fine. Well, Laura says this is all awesome, or we could just pay you to do it. Yes, you could pay me to do it. I totally do that. People have hired me to do this before. If you jump onto readingtransforms.com/authors, you can check out our author services. Thank you so much for throwing that out there, Laura. Appreciate that. Yes, I can totally do that for you, or you could do it yourself. I have faith in you. It will be awesome. But if you don't feel like you can, I'm here. People are here. We help. It's great. I always have trouble coming up with questions because your broadcasts are so succinct. You explain everything so well. I feel like I don't have any questions. I totally get it. Yay, Lissa! I'm so glad that you totally get it, and I'm glad that I know how to present things so that you don't have too many questions. That's fantastic. So I'm glad you're getting a lot out of it. I'm glad that you're getting a lot out of this. What a night. My goodness. You answered all my questions in the broadcast. Fantastic. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you guys are getting a lot out of this. This has been so fantastic. So we are now at the end of our premiere week. We are on our normal Saturday nights. This is fantastic. I'm so glad. This has been such a great time. Now, every single week we will be here on Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are going to be bringing you some great content. We're going to be bringing in even more fantastic presenters. It's going to be an incredible journey together, and I cannot wait to see what you are doing with your marketing and your branding. So thank you so much for joining me for Premiere Week. It has been an incredible time. I've loved hanging out with you. Thanks for being in the chat room. I love seeing you guys live. For those of you watching the rebroadcast, you guys are awesome too. Leave comments. Tell me what you want to see. Connect with us on our social media. We love hearing from you. It's been so great. Now, if you are watching live, yay you, you're fantastic. I am going to be sending out all of the notes from all of Premiere Week and this episode and all the downloadable bonus freebies on Monday. It's going to be great. So check your inboxes for those. If you've not signed up for our newsletter, jump on to our website and sign up at the top of the page. You got to sign up where that freebie download is, how to creatively and effectively market your book even when you're flat broke. You're going to get that freebie. You're going to get on our newsletter. Jump into community.readingtransforms.com to join our Facebook group so that you can get ongoing support throughout the week. I will be in there dropping knowledge on social media and technology and everything we've been teaching about this week and in our lessons. I will be there doing live broadcasts. I will be there to type to you. I will be checking all of the different threads. It's going to be amazing, and I'm so excited that you are here as part of this journey. So thank you so much for joining me. I am KM Robinson of KM Robinson Photography and Reading Transforms. This has been a great premiere week, and before we go, I have just a couple of things for you to be thinking about. Stay inspired, guys.
Hey authors, I know that marketing your book can be so confusing, especially when you don't have a big budget to work with, but I want you to know that there are ways that you can market your book without costing you a cent. I have come up with a list of 20 totally cost-free marketing ideas that you can implement into your marketing strategy and see the same great results that my own authors have seen when they implemented it into their marketing plan. You can get your very own totally free copy of how to market your book creatively and effectively even when you're flat broke if you jump on to www.readingtransforms.com. Up near the top, you're going to see a spot where you can download it completely for free. It is my gift to you. I hope that you take this PDF and you use it in your marketing strategy and see incredible results, and I can't wait to see what you do with it. I'm KM Robinson of KM Robinson Photography and Reading Transforms. Stay inspired. Do you have a new book releasing soon? Do you want to create a unique experience for your fans on your book release day? Do you want to interact with your fans, celebrate your book, and be the talk of the industry? Book launch live events bring all this and more right into your grasp. Rita Award winner and New York Times bestselling author Pintip Dunn called it the highlight of my release day. Dying to find out if this is for you? Visit booklaunchlive.readingtransforms.com for more info and see if this is the perfect thing for your release day. Do you ever feel like you're alone in the book world? When the conferences die down and you're sitting in front of your computer alone writing your next manuscript, things can seem very isolated. But they don't have to be. Do you ever feel like social media changes are getting the better of you? Do you feel like you need support that you just don't have? You don't have to be on your own trying to solve the algorithms. Join the Reading Transforms community for a group of authors and book world professionals going through the same things as you. Connect and support one another. Hear from industry leaders on technology changes, and get the latest updates on RTTV, the weekly live broadcast that teaches you to market your books and brand yourself more efficiently and creatively. Get the community and support that you've been longing for, and surround yourself with authors just like you. We'll see you there.